Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power. My name is Jeffrey Pinzon. I want you to share a little bit about your upbringing, who you are, so like that the audience could get to know a little bit about
Yeah,
you.
definitely. I was raised in Hollywood. I'm originally from Central America. My parents brought me here when I was 6 years old. We were fleeing the whole civil war going on. Yeah, grew up in Hollywood. Was there for a while. Joined the Marine Corps after that. Did 8 years and back in West Hollywood here, selling real estate now.
Not telling your parents anything, and then at 3 o'clock in the morning they show up to your house to pick you up. So what happened when you joined the Marine?
I went infantry, so from day one it's survival mode. You're out there, it's a crazy experience.
After the 8 years, you came back into the U.S. How was that like?
I was in an accident in Iraq. Our 7-ton had flipped over a bridge.
Wow.
I fell about 35 feet into a river. In fact, I was pinned down for like 2 minutes.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power. My name is Jeffrey Pinzon. Very excited to be here with you guys today. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to every single one of you guys who have tuned into our previous episodes. I hope that you guys are getting a lot of value. This podcast was designed to provide you with strategies, systems that you guys could go out there and implement in your life. I hope that you guys are implementing some of this stuff in your life, in your career. And today we have a great speaker for you guys today. We have the great pleasure of having Mr. JP Pena. And a little bit about JP, he's been in the real estate industry for over 13 years. He's become a well-known name in the real estate industry, not only for his positive attitude and for his production, but always for having a desire to go above and beyond for all his clients, no matter the price point of their house purchase. He's also a proud veteran of the United States Marine Corps, serving over 8 years and earning numerous accolades throughout his career for his leadership and outstanding performance overseas in the operation of Iraqi Freedom. Today, he conducts yearly seminars for military veterans to help them achieve success in their lives, whether it is in real estate or any desire that they want to have in their life. He's able to provide them with powerful tools that they could implement. And today we have the great pleasure of having Mr. JP Pena. Without further ado, help me welcome Mr. JP, man. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. I'm super excited. Finally, we get to sit down and interview you.
No,
I know we've been working at this for quite a while, and now we're here.
It's about 5 times now. Something like that.
Something like that, but now we're here.
Now, it's a great pleasure to be here, and anything I can do to help. And I know it's a great cause what you're doing, so I think it's good to voice some positive energy out there, some fire up the ass, like I say, and
Absolutely.
Help people execute.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that a lot of people are going to get a ton of value from your story. I've had the pleasure of hearing a little bit about your story, not completely, but just the little part that I heard was, it impacted my life, and I respect you for that. And I want you to share a little bit about your upbringing, who you are, so like that the audience could get to know a little bit about you.
Yeah, definitely. I was raised in Hollywood. I'm originally from Central America. My parents brought me here when I was 6 years old. We were fleeing the whole civil war going on. In fact, the funny thing is that I was only 6, and I remember a lot, which my mom actually gets surprised because she said that there's no way that at that age I can remember. Mm-hmm. But I can clearly remember my grandma making tortillas in little sort of like, we had like, in my country we call them laminas. It's basically a house kind of made out of mud, mm-hmm. and then you have just the lamina on top. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting by the fire, and we used to have the guerrillas come through the back, and they used to ask my grandma for tortillas. And I'm not quite sure if it was my grandma or my aunt. I remember seeing a lady figure, and I told my mom about that. I said, Mom, I remember people used to come to the house, and there was a fire, and they would ask for tortillas, and I would see this person scared, giving it to them, and she just like starts tearing up, and she'll say, yeah, that's the way they would come, and they would force you to like give them food or stuff like that, or else you pay the consequences. Wow. And I sit there, I'm like, wow, like, I could just imagine living in that type of environment, especially my mom working hard, and I believe my aunt or my grandma at the time, whoever it was, and having to deal with that fear, waking up every morning and knowing that somebody might be in your backyard, and if you basically don't listen to their demands, that could be the end of you. Because frankly, I remember right after that, we were on a bus, and the bus in front of us blew up.
Wow.
And I remember faintly about it, and I asked my mom, and she started always crying about this. She goes, yeah, because we should have been on that bus. And she goes, that's when I decided that we needed to come here. So, I did come here illegally. We walked through everything, which was quite a progress. And I give so many props for my mom, who carried me and my sister through that whole journey.
So you three came on your own?
Yeah, we came on our own. I remember riding a bunch of buses. I remember getting caught here at the border. I remember getting shot at the border. I can remember the guns. At one point, my mom dropped me, and she told me to run while she was holding my little sister. And I remember running, and I turned back, and I remember there was trailers, and I could hear dogs, and I could hear other people running. And this lady tried to pick me up. She goes, "Mijo, corre, corre." And I looked back, and I see my mom on her knees with my sister. And I said, "No, I can't leave them." And I ran back, and I remember she got mad because we got caught. And it was quite a journey, and I give a lot of thanks to her because of that opportunity that she gave me by bringing me here. I've done so much in my life. I grew up in Hollywood, not the best location. Everybody has this outlook of Hollywood as that's where your celebrities are at and all that. It's not quite like that. In fact, where I grew up, it was very, very brutal. I grew up in between 3 major gangs, so every day was a constant battle on just basically survival. It's one day I had to jump one fence so I could avoid one gang. The next day, coming back from school, I had to go through another street just to jump through a building to get one because one gang thought that I was informant for the other gang. So it was quite tough, man. But
this was every day.
Every day, man. It's I grew up on this street called Artmore in Hollywood. It's Artmore, Santa Monica. It's now called Little Armenia for a reason because there's a lot of Armenians at the time. But that street itself had a lot of Armenian power, which is the Armenian Mafia. Right on top of that, you had White Fans, which is the oldest gang in LA. South of that, you had 18th Street and then MS-13. So it's kind of like this triangle of just all these gangs. And then you have just a few Latinos that live on this one street where there's a big rival. So anytime you get out of that, the other gangs thought, well, hey, are you a part of them? Are you an informant? Why are you living there? And stuff like that. So it was quite crazy. In fact, my dad got jumped a few times, got stabbed at and shot at. So it was a quite tough upgrowing. And, if you go there now, it's way different. It's funny. I just drove by there not too long ago, and it's nice people, people walking their dogs and stuff like that, which is way different than when I grew up. But yeah, grew up in Hollywood, was there for a while, joined the Marine Corps after that, did 8 years, and back in West Hollywood here, selling real estate now.
So how was that? Like what made you decide to join the Marines?
A lot of it is I wanted to get away. I always liked challenges. I always wanted to do something different. I always been that one guy that if you told me I can't do something, I would go out there and show you that it can be done. And that has been something that's either got me places and also backfired on me in so many reasons. Because you see, growing up, although I grew up in a bad location and I had all these obstacles that came up, I was very positive and very motivated. I just think that a lot of the times my dad's strict discipline and way of being caused insecureness on me, which now that I'm older and I read and I believe I'm a little bit more knowledgeable, I reflect back on it. And it's not because he did it on purpose. I just don't think he properly knew how to raise somebody or
some things that he will
that he didn't understand. And all our parents have different upbringings, and maybe after I had a conversation with him and I learned the way he was brought up with no love and on the streets and everything, I can understand why he was the way he was, and I can see why he would try to steer me away from certain things, not because he didn't want me to do it, because he was really trying to protect me.
Right.
It didn't translate that way at that time,
You didn't see it that way.
Yeah, and it hurt, and that's what caused insecurities. I'll give you an example. I've always been into sports, and every time I would excel in something, it was not good enough for him. And my translation back there was, he hates me. He don't think I could do it. In true reality, what he was trying to let me know was, no, you could do better than that.
Right.
Don't let that success be a satisfaction. You can still fucking go higher.
Yeah, don't get complacent, right?
And I didn't understand that. I would turn it to hate. I would look at it as like, oh man, he doesn't support me. He doesn't hate me. So when I played sports, I remember my freshman year, I made it into varsity in soccer. I was stellar goalkeeper. I went in there, man. I completely knocked out the current varsity goalkeeper. I was so excited. I got home, and I remember I told him, I said, Dad, I made varsity and this and that. He goes, huh? He goes, you won't be there long enough. And I was like, shit. So my whole motivation, everything just went, wow. And I'm like, and it actually fucked me up, because the first game I did good. The second game I was so nervous now because he said that man, I did horrible. And because I did horrible, then everybody started attacking me, and you suck, and you're this and that. And I was just like, man, it just got to my head. And it's something that I never really got over until I started, with my own children and raising them and going through that process and really doing a lot of digging deep and understanding the words and the reasons why he did the things he did. And to answer your question, that's one of the reasons I joined the Marine Corps, because I felt this is going to be a challenge that I'm going to prove to him that I can do it and I can achieve it.
What did he say when you told him you were gonna join?
It's funny because nobody knew until the day they came to pick me up.
Really?
Yeah, I falsified my parents' signature when I was 17 years old to join the Marine Corps. I got caught by the recruiters. In fact, they told me that there's no way they were gonna take me back after that. So I was pissed. I was like, fuck, dude. And my mom was upset about it. I was a junior at the time, but you could sign up if you had a parent's permission. So I forged it. And of course, they said there wasn't your opportunity to join the Marine Corps. So I went to the Navy, and I said, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go to the second choice. And just something about me. See, I wanted to go to the best of the best. I wanted the most ruthless, the most challenging, the worst experience you could give me. That's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to walk out of there and say, I fucking did it. Look at me, right?
Right.
And so
I had something to prove.
Yeah, dude, and I'm there at the Navy's recruiting office, and I have the paperwork in front of me, and I just couldn't do it. And I said, I'm gonna go try out another Marine Corps recruiting. There's no way they're gonna know. Screw it, I'll lie if I have to, but I'm gonna fucking join the Marines. And I left that, and I went to Glendale.
Alright.
And I told the guy, and he goes, cool. I took the test, passed it, and I was 18 already, so they signed me up. And I didn't tell my parents anything until September 21st when I left the boot camp, 2001. And they showed up at 3 in the morning, and they knocked on the door. I was ready, and my mom got up, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh yeah, I joined the Marines. She goes, what? And then, of course, big old cry. My sisters were crying. My dad came up, and I remember he just looked at me, and he shook my hand, and he says, "Te cuidas, mijo?" And that was it.
Wow.
They took me and joined the Marines.
And what was that like?
It was scary, bro, because you got to remember, around this time, September 11 had happened.
Right.
In fact, I wasn't supposed to go to boot camp until the following year, which was going to be 2002. And I had joined the reserves, which was basically you go to boot camp, you get your infantry training, because I went in as infantry, and then you could go to school. Well, after September 11, a lot of things changed. In fact, I remember September 11, man, like if it was yesterday, because I was sleeping and my sister started knocking on my door, and she said, you have to go watch the TV. I'm like, what? So I opened the door. Right when I opened the door, the second plane hit the tower. And I looked at there and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And I just joined the Marines. I'm like, dude, this is gonna change everything. And I remember getting this weird feeling, and they didn't know, no idea that I had joined or anything. So in the back of my mind, there's so much stuff going on. And the phone rings, and my mom says, it's for you. And this is about 2 hours after the whole incident happened. And I pick up the phone, and it's the recruiter, and he says, you're actually going to boot camp next week, which was going to be the September 21st, around it, so 2 weeks from there. And he says, yeah, you're going to boot camp September 21st. Everything got pushed up. You're not going to go next year anymore. And I remember half of me was excited, kind of motivated. You get that whole patriotic, hell yeah, I'm going to go fight for my country. Screw this. But the other time, I'm like, fuck, I'm only 18. Haven't lived life. What if I don't make it back? What if I die? What if, all this stuff now. And that's when reality really kicks in, man. And you're just like, well, I'm committed. You got to do it. So, yeah, that's how that happened.
Wow, that's so crazy, man. You not telling your parents anything, and then at 3 o'clock in the morning they show up to your house to pick you up.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It was interesting, man. But at the same time, I think that's when I really broke up, and I want to say that I started becoming a man. I said, you know what? I started making my own decisions. I always been very independent, and I always worked. I started working at an early age. I remember I was about 12 at a car wash. Best damn car wash guy you got ever seen, man. I remember I used to get there early Saturday and Sundays because obviously you're underage. I used to get paid tips only, but I used to make anywhere between $5 to $10 per person on tips only. I used to clean your car like you had no idea, man. If there were scrapes in your mirror, I'd be that one guy with the little knife thing, you taking it off, scrubbing, your tires were clean. Very detailed, man. And people used to hate on me. I mean, I used to have the adults, the grown-ups, used to hide my stuff because at that time, you used to have to buy your own bottle. So your Windex bottle, your Armor bottle, you used to buy that. And if you lost it, they charge you there for it. So they used to hide it on purpose. Anything they could do so I wouldn't show up again. And I would still continue to show up. I'll still continue to show up. In fact, funny story, man, I will tell you this right now. One of the guys that was a complete ass with me at the time, which was one of the bigger guys that would just always hide my shit. And I remember I told him one time, I said, dude, what's your problem? Like, I'm just here to work. I don't mess with anybody. He goes, you shouldn't be here. And he told me some bad words and stuff like that and told me to fuck off. And I said, okay, cool. About 4 or 5 years ago, I'm in Downey. And I just rolling in, obviously nice car and everything now. And I parked it in. They took it in. They honked that the car's ready. And guess who's washing my car?
The guy.
That same guy.
Wow.
Bro. And I gave him $20.
What did he tell you when he saw you?
He didn't recognize me. And I gave him $20 and he goes, oh man, he goes, thank you so much. And I go, no, thank you. I go, because of you, I'm the character and the man that I am today. And he had no idea what I was talking about.
Did you?
No, I didn't tell him.
You left it at that?
I just left it like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mind fucked him right there.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. So what happened when you joined the Marines? What's one of the most absurd things or something that impacted your life when you were out there?
Dude, you will definitely freaking become a man real quick, man. I mean, it's I went infantry, so from day one it's survival mode. You're out there, it's a crazy experience, man. It's not something that you normally see. I mean, I went at time of war, so we were in Iraq, we're fighting.
How was that like being over there at that time?
My unit was one of the first ones to push in, so we
Really?
were like the first ones in there. And I remember the first firefight we got into, we're crossing, well, even before we got to that, we were on the other side of the bridge. And this is where, man, you look at life just passing you by. You're sitting there and you can hear people screaming on the other side. You can see, motors going off. And the one thing about in a situation like this is anytime you pause, which is meaning you come to stop, you have to dig your own hole. The reason you do this is to minimize casualties. So if there's a motor round or anything that falls, casualties are a lot less because it's going to fall within that hole or where you're at. So it's going to take less people. So picture it as every night before you go to sleep, you're digging your own grave and you lay there and you're just sitting there hoping that nothing comes in. It's the most craziest feeling ever. And I remember just always looking up at the stars and just wondering what my parents would be doing, my sisters, my friends. And I'm like, dude, fuck, just not too many months ago, I was at fucking prom, trying to get laid, and then now I'm here freaking shit, in a hole, like hopefully nothing comes in and fucking blows up on me, man. And it's a crazy awakening experience because it really humbles you. It really makes you look at life different. It makes you appreciate a lot of things. But most importantly, if you can overcome that, man, you can really overcome anything in life, dude. you're talking about death. And every day
with that feeling of
it's
death
a
all
chess
the time.
game on you trying to beat death and not go through the path where you'll be finalizing, not able to go back home. And it's crazy when you think about it, but it's something you got to prepare for every day there.
And what made you stay 8 years?
I loved it, man. I loved it so much. I actually did wanted to do 20 years. I looked at myself as a lifer, as they called it. I like the camaraderie. The brotherhood is amazing. That's something that, keeps us so strong because, it's crazy. Even the smallest things that you do over there with each other go so long and help so many of them overcome, whether it's their depression of missing home, or you get a lot of times where somebody may get bad news, their wife left them, their kids got sick, somebody passed away. I mean, it's very tough, man. It's very tough, and you count so much on that brotherhood to help you just get up the next day and have another reason to live, man. I mean, I remember I'd always been good at drawing, so everybody would come up to me whenever we had some downtime or some pausing, and I would draw tacos, or I would draw like a Corona, and then we would literally pass the book with the Corona to everybody and act like we were drinking a Corona. It's the small things, bro, that you're not gonna experience in nobody else, man. It's like me and you are talking now, and then the next day I could be picking you up from the floor in pieces, and you're gone, and you gotta find the letter that you wrote to your dear ones and mail that out to somebody. It's a very tough feeling, and I think because of that, and because what you go through and the stories you develop, and the journey that you go through with somebody in a situation like that is so powerful that it's gonna live with you for the rest of your life, man. It's a brotherhood that nobody will ever understand.
You call it the six, or what is it? I remember last time you mentioned the six, or the never leave a man behind, or
oh, we got your six.
We got your six.
Yeah, we got your six. Yeah, it's always basically always got your back.
Okay.
And that falls through with any military, and it's throughout the military itself. It's just the Marine Corps has a stronger bond for some reason, and it's been something that anywhere you go, if you see Marines, their bond is very different. It's that brotherhood goes a little bit deeper than most other branches, but it's something that I enjoy, and I think it's powerful, man.
Wow, yeah, I could see it. So after the 8 years, you came back into the U.S. How was that like?
It was tough, man, because
transition from
I was in an accident in Iraq. Our 7-ton had flipped over a bridge.
Wow.
I fell about 35 feet into a river. In fact, I was pinned down for like 2 minutes. I remember blacking out, man. I think I died for that moment. There was bodies on top of me, sandbags, weapons, and I could just remember the mud and the water just slowly going through my nose and my mouth. And the harder that I tried to scream, the more they would go into it. And I really thought that was it, man. Before that, we had just been sort of in a little hostile situation. And I remember having that fear of something was going to happen. It's crazy, man, the way that things work. And when this actually happened, I was like, this is it. Like, I guess this is the feeling I was getting. Like, that's it, I'm done, man. So due to that, I ended up having 6 surgeries and 1 back surgery, which really took a toll on me. So when I got back, it was very hard, man. I fell into a really bad depression. Things weren't working out. I had just had a taste of success in the mortgage business, and then everything tanked. I got screwed over by some guy, so I was dead broke. And of course, 2008 came around, which was the recession. So now I was homeless. We had no home. My wife was pregnant at the time. And I remember just thinking, man, this is it, man. I remember it was just very tough, and I always had that pride that I didn't want to ask people for help, and it's a problem that a lot of veterans go through when they go through their transitioning process. It's just that pride of, I achieved so much.
What now?
Yeah, but I don't want to come back and ask people for help. Fuck it, I'm a Marine, I'll figure it out. And it's a wrong mentality, especially now that I do a lot of work for veterans, especially with my podcast, Veterans Battalion, and we focus on letting people know that it's okay to ask help. It doesn't mean you're any less. It doesn't mean that your ego's gonna get, and ego's the biggest thing with Marines. It just means that, people are willing to help you, and you need that hand, because that transition is very tough. Mm-hmm. It's very tough. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, even civilians won't understand that. So you have to turn into groups and organizations that have that experience, that can guide you and put that same blueprint you had in the military in the civilian life to help you succeed.
Right. And
it's a very important factor that many veterans have to take on. They just failed to do so because of that pride. And I fell into that category. I mean, I didn't want to do it. I felt that I'll figure things out by myself. I turned into heavy drinking. I remember I would go through a bottle of Bacardi a day. And if that wasn't enough, I'll mix it up with other stuff. And finally, when my son was born and I did manage to get a place, I realized, man, I felt like such a failure, man. I felt that that I was nobody. I got a taste of feeling powerful, feeling great, and being able to achieve something, to then being splattered down to feeling so low that I felt my life had no more meaning in this world, and that I would be such a failure and the worst dad ever, that I just didn't deserve to be here, period. And I had just gotten a letter from the VA, and it stated that my life insurance was about to come due from the military, and it was only about $150,000, something like that. And it said that if I wanted to renew it, I had to pay, or if not, I was going to cancel out. And I remember that day I got that letter, dude, and I started drinking like crazy. I said, you know what, screw it. At least $150,000 would be better for my son than what I have right now. And I drank. I remember I was being rude to my wife. I was trying to do everything for her to go to the room and stay there with my son. And I accomplished that, and she got there, and I drank, and I remember I kept on playing Knocking on Heaven's Door from Guns N' Roses, man. It was just on repeat, man. And I'm drinking away, took my gun, and I remember I loaded it and I put the gun in my head, dude. And I said, you know what? Oh, this is it, man. You're a fucking loser. You can't do shit. You're a fucking shitbag. You can't perform. You can't even fucking do shit for your son. You can't do anything. Just fucking stop it here. And I fucking pulled the trigger. And it didn't go off. And I remember I cried so hard, bro. And once
so you pulled the trigger.
I pulled the trigger, man. I don't know what happened, And my son came out. And he came out of the room, and I remember crying so hard. And I grabbed him, I picked him up, and he was wearing this blue, full body pajama things, the old school
The onesies?
Yeah, the onesies. And I fucked and hugged him so hard, and that's when I made a promise. I said, you know what, man? I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna fucking create greatness somewhere fucking other. I'm a fucking Marine, man. I went through fucking death and back. I went through fucking war. This shit is not gonna fucking stop me. This shit is not gonna fucking face me. I am fucking unstoppable. Absolutely. I am a fucking badass motherfucker. I will make this shit happen regardless. And then that's the day that I took action in my life and fucking changed shit, bro.
So what did you do right there?
Dude, it's crazy, bro. I fucking
yeah, that's crazy, brother. Putting the trigger, I'm still tripping out on that.
I fucking woke up a fucking monster, dude. Since then, dude, nothing phases me, dude. I hit the low of the fucking low, man. I think that there's nothing lower than that, man. And a lot of people talk about their their issue. For example, we hear all these speakers talk about 2008 came and fucking I lost everything. Dude, at the end of the day, it was your fucking decision, and that's something that you have to realize. I look back to the stuff that I did. There's a lot of things that I could have changed. They would have made the situation a lot different.
Right.
Did I? No, I fucking didn't. It was my choice. It was my decision to do so, and I took the decision or the option to go the fucking different path. Mm-hmm. It's something that could have been avoided. It is what it is. You fucking deal with it. Now you move on it. Now a lot of people say, well, you just adapt and overcome. The problem with adapting and overcoming is that it's a temporary fixture. It just means that you adapt it to a certain habit that you're doing. That could be a bad habit that you just sort of mold it now to sort of fit to what you think is right, and then you fucking move forward. Well, that problem was never really fucking fixed. You gotta completely fucking stop that, completely change that habit, start a brand new one that's gonna be fucking uncomfortable because it sucks. Bro, ever since that happened, dude, I made it my mission to stay as much as uncomfortable as possible. And it's never fucking easy. It fucking sucks. And every day in my life, it's a new challenge, a new battle that I go through, because I want to live to that word that I told myself at that time when I looked at my son, I picked him up, and I said, I will make fucking shit happen. And I believe that that's the way. No, I don't believe. I know that that's the way it has to be in order for me to fucking create greatness. And I have done that. So since then, massive fucking goals. You know, I fucking stepped up on a lot of shit I've done. I mean, we live in a way better location. My kids go to amazing schools because of that. And you know, it's a lot of it is just fucking taking action, man.
What was the first step or first action that you took that day after?
I got a job.
Be a fucking badass.
I got a job. Okay. I think.
Oh yeah, because at the time you were.
Yeah, you know, it was one thing that I said. You know, I had worked in the mortgage business. I started part time when I was in the Marine Corps. And
how did you get into that?
You know, funny story, dude. So my buddy's getting out of the military, and I'm walking him out. This is a good friend of mine. We used to party all the time, and he's getting out. I'm walking him out. This dude shows up in the most sickest, craziest Lamborghini I've ever seen in my life. This shit looked like a fucking spaceship, bro. And I'm like, damn, I only seen this in posters, bro. And I'm like touching it, and then he says, "You want to drive it?" I'm like, "Of course I want to drive it." So then I'm like driving it. And then, you know, we're driving this thing, and I'm like, "Bro, what do you do?" And he goes, "I do loans." I'm like, "Loans? What kind of loans, man?" That's like, I was sold. That same week, he told me, "Just show up to my office." So that same week, the next day, as a matter of fact, I used to get out of the military around 5 o'clock. I drove to West Covina, where he had his office, and I sit there, and he goes, "All you gotta do is call these people. You call, for every appointment you said, I'll give you $1,000 bucks." And I said, "Damn, that's it." And this is back in like, you know, already 06, where loans were just way different. And I've always been good, dude. Like I said, I like challenges. I've always been a person that, you know, if you give me a task, I'll fucking do it, man. And I remember I'm sitting there and I go, that's it. That week alone, I made $12,000.
In 1 week?
In 1 week, bro. That's the most money.
12 appointments.
The most money I ever seen in my life. Actually, I lied. The most money I saw before that was $1,000.
That's back in 06.
Yeah. The most money I seen before that was $1,000 when I joined boot camp, because they gave me $1,000 bonus, and I thought I was rich, bro. I was like, wow, $1,000. And so I was like, $12,000. I'm like, wow, this is a lot of money, man. And of course, I was young, dumb. Nobody taught me anything. I came from poor parents, so splurged everything in the wrong things you could buy. But, you know, I said, wow, this is good. So I had a taste of working myself, because I did that for about 8 months. And I said, I like this. I like the fact that I'm in control of the money. I'm in control of what I want to make.
Right.
I'm in control that if I want to challenge myself to do more, I can do so. So that's something that stayed with me for a while. And so when I hit this low point in my life, I refused to get a job, because I said, I am not going to go work for somebody. I said, I'm going to work for myself. And I tried so many things, man. I remember it was just constantly something new. And everything just kept on failing. And that's initially what got me to that one point. But to go back to your question, what the first change that I had to do was fucking take my pride back and say, fuck it, at this point, I got to think about my kid, my wife, you know, my family. So I gotta fucking go get a job.
Right.
And the one thing about me that I will tell you, bro, is that if I don't know how to do something, I will fucking figure it out, even if it means on the spot, on the fly. Like, I always been, I'll make shit happen. And so my father-in-law gets me an interview at a refinery. You know, he was working at the refinery at the time. And I had refused to work at the refinery because when I first met my wife, they didn't quite like me so much, because I was, in a sense, an entrepreneur or work for myself, and they thought, wait a minute, this guy never went to school, doesn't have a degree, was a Marine, like, what are you doing? This is the worst decision. This is not the right guy. And I remember, like, man, there's no way I'm going to go work at a refinery. That's what they work. They're going to throw it at me. They're going to say, I told you. And I said, fuck. But at this point, I had to take action. I'm a man of my word. I committed to my son. And I said, you know what? I'm going to fucking make things happen. So I show up to this refinery interview, and I'm sitting there. And the guy comes out and he says, who's here for the supervisor position? And I'm like looking around, and nobody's raising their hand. And they're like, who's here for the supervisor position? I'm like, fuck it. So I'm like, me. So I pick up my hand. They're like, you. And they're looking at me like, who the hell are you? They're like, okay, well, come here. You got to take the test. And I'm like, well, what's the worst that can happen? It's a test, you know? And I had done some research about the refinery. And also, before I joined the Marines, I had took a lot of drafting and architectural classes because I wanted to be an architect. So I knew how to read plans, floor plans, and all this stuff, elevations and stuff like that. And so when I get there, the test is a bunch of just floor plans, reading plans, or ISOs, meaning that's what you call when you're running a pipe. And it's basically like a floor plan, but for pipes. It's called an ISO. And I'm like, dude, I know all this shit. So I'm like, oh, dude, like that. I ended up getting like 70% out of 100, which that's what you needed to pass. So they brought me on board as Chevron, getting paid $22 an hour as a supervisor. Wow. Had no idea what the hell I was doing. As a matter of fact, when I get there, they're like, yeah, you're gonna be the civil foreman. You're gonna be dealing with concrete and pouring. I'm like, great, dude. That night, I went to Home Depot. Bought every book I could about concrete. Went to Barnes and Noble, bought every book I could about masonry and rebarring. And dude, so I went the whole night. I remember like tabbing and reading all this stuff. I bought this manual that would give you the simple lingo of it. And the next day I show up and they're like, okay, you know, here's they were doing a cooling tower, which is what cools a lot of the pipes that have extreme heat, and it's just a bunch of shower water, cold water that comes in and cools them. And that's if you go to your fire, that's what you see, the steam coming out on all this. Okay. Well, they had started doing the foundation and they were at rebar, and I was supposed to be running in the concrete trucks. And they're talking about slurry and all this other stuff, which is concrete lingo, different consistency for the type of concrete they're pouring. And the guy sitting there next to me goes, yeah, I think we're gonna pull this and that, and we gotta do it this way. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let's go with that. And I remember the guy was like, yeah, okay, great, man. They're like, I like you, man. You're just like straightforward. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then another guy would come and goes, hey, we're thinking about putting this type of form because it's going to be a 46 pipe on this and that. What do you think? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. Yeah. So, bro, I milked the hell out of that job for like the first 9 months. And it got to the point where the project manager came up to me and said, we like you so much, we want to take you to the next project at the other site, and we're going to get you there, and you're going to keep your position. And by this time, I had saved my money. So I had saved a lot of money, and my goal was like, I'm going to go back into real estate. Like, screw this, now I'm going to go get my license. I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to do this anymore. And yeah, I remember I told the guy, no, I think that's it, man. I'm done here. And yeah, I walked out. But interesting story, man. I milked the refinery for quite some time.
Becoming agreeable with everybody.
I don't know if they'll hear this one day, but yeah, you know, it's
that's awesome,
it
brother.
was an interesting story. And yeah, man, that's I got my real estate license after that, and there came the other obstacle in my life that nobody wanted to hire me. Surprisingly, every broker I went to after I got my license said that.
Why was that?
Because I had tattoos, and because I was a Marine, they said that I would never make it, that I would never be able to sell, that, you know, I should consider being a cop or a security guard, that would be the better option for me. And I never understood that because, you know, the way I looked at it is like, man, you know, dude, I'm basically, if I produce, you make money. If I don't produce, it doesn't cost you anything. I mean, don't even give me a space. Just show me the ropes, you know, let me know what I got to do, and then I'll go from there. You know, and there was a quick moment right before that transition from the refinery that I worked for a developer. So I knew a bit of the acquisition, the financing part of it. I had done loans before, so I knew that. And I just couldn't understand why.
Why didn't you go back to loans? What made you jump into real estate?
You know, at that time, loan business...
You already had experience in loans, right?
But it was just very crazy, man. After 2008, you got to remember that from 2006 to 2007, there was so much crazy stuff going on the loan business that, I mean, it was being seen with like a microscope, bro. Like, I mean, it was just like, that was the business where like, you don't want to get in. I mean, I was hearing stories of people getting locked up and people's cars getting repo because of all the fraud they were doing, and offices. In fact, that office where I started got raided by the FBI because the broker at the time, the dude with the Lamborghini, was 22, and I think he was making around $400,000 a month. But it wasn't because of the loans or the subprime. dude was buying homes with dead people's social security.
Wow.
And flipping them and then taking equity. So it was a lot bigger thing. So there was so much stuff going on that I said, I don't want to go that route. Like, you know what? I'd rather, you know, I like architectural. I want to go to the real estate side. I had a taste of development. I liked it. I said, maybe this is just the route I want to go. And God bless Mary Ann, which was a broker that took me in, and rest in peace now, she passed away. She gave me a shot. She was off of Cyprus. Amazing woman. I mean, she believed in me. She said, you know what, you're going to be great. There's something about you.
How did you meet her?
Through an old processor that I used to work with. It was her mom, and she says, look, I told her, look, nobody's hiring me. And she goes, it's tough, you know, because the market is changing. This is already like, you know, 2010 already. She goes, the market's changing. There's a lot of, you know, people are just being more cautious, you know, so to find a good brokerage is going to be hard because of that process. You know, start off with somebody small. Go talk to my mom, and I did. And I remember that my first deal I did with her, I was passing out flyers in La Superior in Long Beach. I didn't have a car at the time. My car had got repoed. I had lost almost everything. I had just gotten a place where we were living at, and I had just made money from the refinery, so I had some saved up. And I'm passing out flyers, and this lady just said, yeah, you know, le doy la oportunidad. I'll give you the opportunity to sell my house. Little that I knew, it was pretty far. It was North Long Beach, so I ended up taking the bus from that location to her house. I remember I got there all sweaty, man, and I was like, oh, this is horrible, man. And I had no idea what I was doing.
Were you licensed already?
Yeah, I was licensed, but I had just never sold anything. And I remember I got there, and she's like, oh, esta es mi casa, ¿qué piensa? What do you think I could get for it? And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's good. I had no idea about the market. I mean, dude, I never lived in Long Beach. And again, I just said, okay, let me just have you sign here, and then I'll take care of it. She signed everything. The only thing I didn't put was commission and price, because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I showed up to her house, Marianne at the time, because she didn't have an office. And it just had been a lot of family owned for her. Right. So all her business was just coming in. And she's like, oh, this is easy. She did this and this. I never knew what happened, anything. The only thing I know is I got a check. So that was great. You know, I got a check. I was like, yeah. And I was just like, you know what? If I really want to learn in this business, and again, I grew up in Hollywood. My mom used to clean homes all over, you know, Beverly Hills, Sunset Strip. I said, I want to go where, you know, I want to go where the big dogs are.
Do you remember that first check? How much it was?
Dude, I think it was like $3,000 and something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you know, so this is where my whole thing of proving people wrong has always, or was, an issue for me, because, you know, at that time I said, well, I want to go prove all these people that said I would never do it. And I left her, and I remember I was driving in Sunset Strip, and I'm driving through all these homes that my mom used to clean, and I would always drive there for inspiration on the weekends and stuff like that. And I said, one day I'll be up here, and one day I'm going to work here. And I come down on Doheny, and right when I turn, there's a Coldwell Banker. And I said, screw it, what do I have to lose? I'm going to go there, and I'm going to ask to be interviewed. And I went in there, and I said, I want to work here. And they looked at me and said, that's not the way it works. You know, it's a process. Usually they call you or something. I said, no, I want to interview. Where's the manager? I start making this big old fuss until suddenly the manager comes out, and she goes, you know what, just bring him in. We'll interview him. And I sit down, and she goes, okay, what did you do last year? And I said, 150. And she said, 150? That's actually pretty good. I said, no, that's how much the house was that I sold. And then she looked at me, and she goes, oh, man. She goes, look, the average agent here makes anywhere between 200 and 250. This is going to be pretty tough. I don't know if it's going to be a right fit. And I remember looking at her, and I said, you know what? All I want is an opportunity. Like, give me an opportunity. I was in the Marine Corps. I do not fail. I'm the best worker you ever had. Like, you give me a blueprint, I'll fucking make it happen. Like, and she started tearing up while I'm saying all this, and I looked at her, and she says, my son was a Marine, and he passed away in Afghanistan. And she said, I don't care what you did last year, I'm gonna take you in under my wing, and I'm gonna make sure you fucking succeed. That year, I sold $2.5 million in Western.
Wow.
And from there on, man, it's how everything just started.
That's so powerful, brother. So now this is your market, right? This area?
No, it's not necessarily my market, and it's funny you said that, because, you know, I believe my whole life after I experienced that moment was a lot of it me trying to prove people wrong, and that I could do stuff. And it led me away from a lot of things that I wanted to do, that I love. For example, I'm very passionate on helping my vets out and getting them into homes and stuff like that. And the high-end market, the reason the high-end market came in place was because, you know, I was told the same thing. You'll never work in the best brokerage. You'll never be able to sell this. You'll never. So every time it was like a fucking challenge for me. Like, oh yeah, really? Let me fucking show you. Oh yeah, really? Let me fucking show you. And I would achieve that and get it. I mean, dude, I'm in the biggest, baddest brokerage possible that you could be at, where you don't just show up and apply. They call you in order for you to join.
Right.
Like, this is the top of the crop that you could be at. And I am the only one that doesn't fully sell high end. 80% of my business is veterans and law enforcement, and only 20% is high end. But I'm here because I am that bad of a motherfucker that they said, we want you in our team. We want you to be a part of our culture and everything to make it happen, right? And so that's the powerful thing, because, you know, for me, it was achieving the top of the top and getting there. But once I got there, I asked myself, am I really fully fulfilled though? And that's when I said I'm not, because it feels like this whole time I've been doing it to prove people wrong versus me doing what I'm passionate and love about.
Your fulfillment is helping veterans,
It
right?
is, man. And I'm a big believer on that inner wealth. And that's the big disconnect between me and a lot of people, because a lot of people say, well, you're not doing this and that. Well, no, because you know what? In the end of the day, bro, when you have gone through an experience like I have gone through and dealt with the stuff that you dealt with, you look at life with a whole different purpose, man. You really do, man. And I'm all about enjoying the small things in life now. You know, having
as far as like what?
Going to my son's jiu-jitsu classes, you know, being able to go to my daughter's gymnastics classes and doing that. Me handing over keys to an 84-year-old veteran that thought that homeownership would never be possible, and I made that shit fucking happen. You know, donating a car to a veteran who took the bus from Riverside all the way to LA, and having the joy and the happiness that you see on their eyes when they realize that they'll be able to see their kids now more often because they have a fucking car in which they can get to. You know, helping somebody with food. I mean, I do a lot where I'll go to the VA and I'll just randomly pick somebody and I'll fucking bring them to Beverly Hills and buy them a fucking good burger or a good fucking steak and just have them enjoy life. That's fucking inner wealth, bro. If you believe in that, everything else will just fucking fall in place because you stop fucking being selfish, man. And I think that that's the biggest problem that we currently live in, that with social media and all this bullshit, people think that they have to meet a status quo in order to be approved and fucking liked.
Right.
And that's the biggest fucking error that people can fucking go on, especially with our youth, because that's what we're teaching them. We're teaching them that if you don't have these certain things, you're fucking nobody. And that's not fucking true, man, because there could be that one fucking button in that one person that the minute it gets pushed, they can fucking create amazing fucking things without the need of all that other bullshit.
Right.
I mean, dude, there's so many people out there that you look at and you admire the work that they do. Very successful, very great, well off and all that, but that's not what they front up. They front up the stuff that they do that has helped others and has gotten them to where they are because of that.
That's the ultimate fulfillment right there.
Ultimate fulfillment, man.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's
man.
exactly what it is, bro.
Yeah, and you can see it clearly when you're talking, because you're passionate about it, and I'm the same way. I believe that I get fulfilled by helping others, seeing other people break through and make their lives better, and that's what you're doing with veterans and with the ownership, all that, helping people earn that American home and be better, have now some type of home that they could actually go and call their own home. So that's powerful. A lot of people don't do that. Who has been the biggest person that impacted your life?
I think my family, man.
Yeah. My
family, my kids, my wife.
And you have a phenomenal relationship with your kids and your wife. I see you. I follow you on Instagram, and I'm constantly seeing you.
I do, man. It's not perfect. You know, I will be the first one to say that. I mean, I'm not the perfect husband. I'm not the perfect father. You know, we don't get a book on fatherhood and the marriage. And, you know, hey, here's a tap for whenever there's an issue, go to this tap, and this is how. You know, it's a constant. Obstacle, and I don't really want to say obstacle because then my wife's gonna kill me. Sorry, but it's just it's a working process, and I think that's always about evolving and making something better of it. You know, I'm always trying to self-improvement is very big, and I'm always learning and trying to learn as much as I can to be a better father, a better husband, be more understanding, listen more. I think that's the biggest thing with men that.
We tend not to listen.
Yeah, we tend not to listen, and our machismo or our pride, kind of takes in, and we want to just kind of like, no, I'm the man of the house. But sometimes it's okay to step back and let somebody take action and take the lead. It makes the relationship healthier, but it also shows your kids that balance is important. Because you are in sense a power couple, and
Right.
you are working
That's
for
why.
that same goal. And believe it or not, wife, man, I think wives, I gotta give it up to them. I mean, it's one of the toughest fucking jobs out there, bro. I mean, my
Don't
wife,
get paid.
my wife's, not my wife's, my wife. She's gone out of the country for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like family stuff. And I stayed with my kids, and bro, I could tell you, bro, after like the second day, I'm like, man, like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Like, it's tough, and you have to understand that. And they take it like champs, and they go through every day. They could be sick sometimes, and they'll still roll with the punches. And we got to go out there and grind and do the work, but they're still doing it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that once in a while they deserve that break, and once in a while they also deserve that recognition that, it's okay for you to take the lead. And yeah, let's do what you say now, and
Right.
let's go that. And I think it's important to give your children that empowerment as well, because if not, you're teaching them to always sit back and just kind of follow versus take charge and lead, and it's okay for you to have your own opinions, and it's okay for you to also come up with a good idea and plan, and let's try that, let's see how that works. And that way they get to see failure and success, and learn communication better and understand problem solving. Because with all this bullshit now with fucking video games and just internet and shit like that, it's they're losing on all those things that me and you used to do growing up.
Right, yeah. Getting hit, getting hurt, getting
Exactly,
scraped,
man.
all that. Yeah, kids hardly do that these days. So what are things that you do with your family now that to get that connection, that bond?
A lot of things. One of the I think coolest thing right now is my son started jiu-jitsu.
And you do that. You
Well, I
do
used to
that.
do it back in the
Okay.
days. I stopped because of my deployment, and I was in the military, which is a great sport discipline. It's jiu-jitsu is one of those things that teaches you problem solving, because every position you do, you have to know 6-7 steps ahead of that. If I grab you a certain way, I have to know 5 counters to whatever you might do, and also 5 attacks that I could do if you do certain things. So it's very jiu-jitsu.
Kind of like a chess game?
It's definitely like a chess game. And so I wanted my son to do it because my son's very bright, smart, he gets things. He just gets out focused sometimes. And I think that this was going to help him. And one day I'm helping him train with him, and I have bad knees because of my surgery. And I'm on my knees, I'm trying to teach him some stuff, and I'm like, dude, my knees are just like, ugh. So I tell him, what, let me take a break. And I remember he gets up and he looks at me and goes, Dad, it's okay to quit sometimes. And I'm like, no fucking, I'm like, what? I mean, like military mode, bro. And I'm like, look, man, first of all, you never fucking quit, and I'm going to show you that. So that
Take
same
that word
week,
out.
I went and signed up. And after I signed up for a fucking tournament. And I said, I'm going to show you, I'm 70% disabled, bro, because of my disabilities. And I told them, I'm going to show you that even with obstacles and shit that pops out, you fucking circumstances, you still fucking can do shit. Don't let, that's all in your fucking head. And right now he's been all wow because of that. So I've been competing.
And you just competed this past weekend, right?
Last weekend and this Sunday. So it was back to back. It's been brutal. But you know what? I will say though, last week my body was just hurting, bro. I was like, man, this sucks. But I have noticed that I have had a spike of energy every morning, which is weird. And jiu-jitsu does that to you, man. It's a whole different discipline, and I think that it's good. Everybody should do it. Story about this not too long ago. Somebody had messaged me and they said, "Wow, how do you deal with, failure?" And I said, "Dude, failure is nothing more but, it'll give you a principle once you reflect on it and understand what was it that went wrong on it. So don't take it as a bad thing, but look at it as like, wow, okay, it's something that I reflect on it, I understand it, this is where I went wrong, now I know how not to apply it." And Ray Dalio on his book Principles, dude, breaks that down amazingly, because a lot of times that's what scares people. It's the fact that, wow, I'm gonna fail, this is gonna happen, and sure, fuck yeah, it's gonna happen, but the fact that you accept it, understand it, reflect on it, is gonna fucking give you a better outcome. Versus you fucking thinking about it, not even doing it because you got so scared that you completely fucking took it off. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the biggest issue. And veterans go through the same thing too. I mean, I have interviewed Navy SEALs, Special Forces. Think about the mindset that it takes to be a fucking Navy SEAL. Pain, excruciating pain, bro. The boot camp, the training, water at fucking cold as fucking Coronado at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, doing water ops, you know, coming through boats. And dude, your mindset has to be in a whole fucking different level in order for you to go ahead and take on that, get it done for 6 weeks, go out there and then still go to war and be the baddest motherfucker you can fucking be. That mindset is incredible. But why is it that when they come out to civilian world, they get the taste of failure and then they absolutely shut down?
Is it because they lose confidence?
No, it's the fact that they have been brought up to be success so many times that now with that taste, they feel they fear success now because they feel they're gonna come short.
Yeah.
So rather, instead of saying I'm gonna tackle it, they rather say I'd rather not do it because I'm gonna come short, or it might not work out, or you know this. It's a completely different type of avoidance with the civilian with the military versus the civilian sector, because the civilian sector just won't try it at all. The military mindset is I'll try it, but if I fail, I'm not gonna do it again.
Yeah.
The civilian is I'm not even gonna do it. Period. Just
Yeah.
because it sounds bad. My mom said it's bad. My dad said it's bad. Fucking, they said that if I do this, everything, I'm not even gonna do it. I'll stay comfortable, which is crazy. But what they don't realize is that failure is only one more step for you to fucking become great. You just gotta fucking do it. And that's the one thing that took me a long time to understand until I accepted the fact that money is just fucking leverage. I'm not attached to it. Money's my fucking bitch. So I don't fucking dwell on it. I could go broke as shit right now and I'll still fucking smile. I'll still fucking make this interview, sip my fucking coffee, go back and grind and fucking make more of it. That's it. It's just what it is. It shouldn't, you know, I hear people say, I can't pay my bill. Oh my God. No, that's a story you're telling yourself.
That's a bullshit story.
I just interviewed a kid not too long ago. I was doing this event where we empower kids, and they're amazing stories. And a lot of these kids have had very traumatic experiences and wow, very tough, bro. And one day he's all happy, he's a dancer, he's doing all these great things. The next day he's down as fuck. And I go up to him and I say, what's the matter? He goes, man, I just got 2 tickets. I go, 2 tickets? It's a big deal. Well, I got no money. I said, well, let me ask you this. 2 tickets, was that on the same day? He goes, no, both one day and the other day. Okay, what could you have done different to avoid that ticket? He goes, not parked there. He goes, so you knew that. You knew it was going to happen. It was your decision to still do that. So you're fucking aware of it. Why are you still dwelling on it? It's fucking money. You go ask for an extension. You can talk to the judge, get community service. I'm giving them all the possible solutions, positive solutions of the outcome, where he's telling himself the stories of all the bad shit that's happening. Oh, this, I'm broke, I'm this and that. You're fucking putting your mindset on a situation where you're fucking broke. You're this, you're that. You have bad luck. Nothing's working for you. This and that.
More of that shit.
So go, dude, you're fucking telling yourself that, so therefore that's what you're manifesting.
Yep.
That's what you're manifesting. Change that fucking attitude, change the mindset, and this is what's gonna happen. It's simple, man. It's the same thing in life. When people dwell over shit, it's because that's the story you're telling yourself. What story are you telling yourself that's going to be different, that's going to empower you? Or are you going to still continue telling yourself the fucking story where you're the fucking victim? Like, I could sit here every fucking day, the whole fucking hour, and just tell you about all the fucking sad shit that happened to me. I was broke, I had no food, we ate this. It's the same fucking story you hear from every fucking speaker now on. If you ever been to a fucking seminar, it's the same thing. I was this, I was broke, I lived in a car, Great, fucking get over it. You fucking lived in a car. The thing is, what are you gonna do different? What have you been doing differently? Are you gonna continue being the victim, or are you gonna continue fucking telling a different story and build a fucking different life?
Are you gonna stay on the old story, or are you gonna create a new one?
Exactly, man. And like I said, at the end of the day, your decisions just will cost you to be in that fucking position. That's it.
Yeah.
So get over it, man. It's not like shit just fell out of nowhere and fucking Jeffrey broke and repo car and no, motherfucker, you fucking did something
wrong. You
wrong.
making famous.
Exactly. You fucking decided to go pop bottles instead of fucking doing this. You decided to go fucking, you know what, dude? So it happened. Great. Accept it. Accept that failure. Reflect on it. Now you progress from it. That's it. It's genuine and it's real stories, real lives that are sharing amazing success, amazing failures that have got them now to live a happy life. And that's really what we want, and to show them that anything is fucking possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure that we plug in
Yeah.
those channels so you guys could tune
Veterans
in.
Battalion.
Yeah.
And stand by for Veterans Hub.
Yeah. On the video, you guys are gonna see it either on the bottom or at the top. You guys are gonna be able to get that information so you guys can follow JP and follow his channel because you guys just saw right now. This guy's powerful. He is a fucking badass, and he's gonna provide you with a ton of value as well in his channel. So, man, JP, man, thank you for your time. I know
Definitely,
that we're cutting it short, so I appreciate your time tremendously. I know that I just had a breakthrough right now, brother, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart because I needed that.
Yeah.
And now I know why we've been going back and forth. It's like, man, the fucking devil was trying to play a game right here that I didn't want this conversation to happen. And it happened now.
You know what? The one thing, and I'm known for saying this a lot, is just, in the end of the day, you just gotta fuck yourself, man. That's
Fuck yourself.
quite and simple. You just gotta fuck yourself. And sometimes it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
It's gonna fucking hurt. But then again, it comes down to, you wanna fucking press that button or not?
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh
There you
man,
go,
thank
man.
you so much, brother. Appreciate you. Tune in to the next episode. You guys have a phenomenal day. Make sure that you guys follow my man JP on Instagram, Facebook, all the platforms that he's at. Make sure that you guys follow him. You guys are gonna get a ton of value. Appreciate your time and take care.